I don't think I ever heard such a powerful explanation to why the Arab world, or much of the Arab world, denies Israel's right, or the Jewish right, to live in Israel, to exist, and to have a sovereign state. And this is coming from a Muslim. This is a must listen for anybody who has any interest in Israel and in the Middle East. Give me your thoughts afterwards, please.
Is the conflict with the Palestinians, as you see it today, is it about 1947, the very existence of the State of Israel? Or is it about 1967 and the possibilities of working out a two-state agreement? Which is it?
It's about year 1000 BCE.
Explain.
So I'll be very blunt and honest. The biggest misinformation that would be would need our attention in order to move things forward is describing the Jews as foreign colonialists in their ancestral homeland. So in my professional opinion, I would say, following the different point of views in the Arab world, the idea is not 1948 or 1967. The idea is the rejection of the Jewish people to be sovereign on their ancestral homeland. This is why I told you 1000 BCE, because King David was the second king of Israel that established the kingdom, and that who was the real founder, if I may say, because he was the one who proclaimed Jerusalem as the capital of the kingdom of Israel. It was Hebron before that. And this is the irony, David. You have many Muslims, my fellow Muslims, who believe, honor, revere prophets and kings of Israel named after them without making these kind of connections that the Jewish people belong to this region, belong to this land, are not foreign colonialists. The word Jew itself, by the way, was never used before 586 BCE to identify the group that was called the Israelites. But they were called the Jews because when they were exiled to Babylonia, the Babylonians asked them, where you guys are coming from? They said, we come from a land called Judah. We are the Jews. If the majority of the Israelites were taken away from the portion of the land that was called Binyamin, you would be now called Binyaminites. So the word itself, Jew, defies anyone who would say that the Jews are not indigenous to the land of Israel, because the word itself says, I am Judean, I am Judah, I am the child of this land, which is now called, by the way, the West Bank. This is why the Israelis are still calling it Yehuda v'Shimron. And why is it called Judah? Because a character that is revered, honored, and respected in Islam and Judaism, Joshua bin Nun, when he entered the land, he partitioned it into 12 sectors, and that sector was called Judah. So you see what I'm saying, David, that the biggest misinformation is describing the Jews as conquerors on their ancestral homeland, a homeland that your ancestors and many of other Jewish ancestors lived in. And we as Muslims honor, revere, and respect. We respect and honor Isaiah, Jeremiah, David, Solomon, Habakkuk, and Daniel. Many Muslims now are named Daniel in Saudi Arabia without making the connection that the name itself is Hebrew. It means God judges, and this prophet is from the line of Judah, who was living in exile. I don't want to give a history lesson, David, but I'm just saying this is very important in understanding the dynamics and in understanding facts related to why Israel is there, because Israel has always been there. But the fact that Jews are sovereign on their national state or on their national homeland is an idea that doesn't fit with the narrative that looks and views Jews and Christians as always subjugated. So this is the real problem with those who refuse the existence of Israel. It was never borders with Israel. It was never about borders or which year is it, 1948, 1967. It's about the existence of Israel itself. And this is a problem that we need to solve. If we really want to solve issues, I don't want to throw some diplomacy and tell you what you hear in the Arab world or what you hear in the media by being so diplomatic. No, I just want to say the truth, that this is a problem that we need to solve before we move things forward.
I can only hope that millions of people will hear that answer that you just gave. What a probing, powerful answer it is.
Thanks for watching.
Wow, that is very probing, very powerful, and just shows how when you have an agenda that you just manipulate things and history to suit and benefit your cause. And the extreme Muslims, their cause is very simple, that Jews, Christians, and others should be subjugated to the Muslims. Jews were always in Muslim lands. They were called dhimmis, second-class individuals. Now, they weren't persecuted as Jews were in Christian lands, but they were second-class citizens. They were subjugated. They did allow Jews to, um, live their life as Jews and, pray as Jews and have communities as Jewish communities and so on, but subjugated to the majority of the Muslims. And that's what they want to create, not just in Israel, but throughout the world. And therefore, they need to find a way that Israel doesn't have a claim because you're just conquerors. Well, we're not conquerors. It is our land, ancestral land, as we just heard. And more than that, we have a greater claim. And that is something that the Muslims also revere, and Christians, and that is the Bible, the Torah. The 5 books of Moses says very clearly that God gave the land of Israel, the Holy Land as it's called. He gave it to Abraham originally, and then to Isaac, Yitzchak, his son, not to Ishmael, but only to Isaac, that particular son. And then Isaac had the son Esau, and Jacob, and it was given by God Almighty, again, specifically to Jacob. And Jacob had the 12 sons that became the 12 tribes that we heard about Joshua ben Nun, that when he entered into the land, conquered the land, and divided the land into 12 portions based on the 12 sons of Jacob. So God Almighty is the one who bequeathed it. And yes, it is our ancestral land. And the place that we've prayed for, facing Jerusalem when we've been exiled from the land. And people will appreciate and understand this. There'll be no more fighting. No more fighting. Not only no more fighting, but peace.